Have you heard about Anchor? Well, it's one of the easiest ways to create a podcast. Not only is it 100% free, but it has a variety of creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or a computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast to other sites such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others for you. And Anchor even allows you to make money from your podcast without a required minimum listenership. So whether you've been in the podcasting game for a long time or you're completely new to it, Anchor is so user-friendly that it's basically your one-stop shop for making a podcast. So what are you waiting for? Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
You're listening to First Paso. Because sometimes you simply need someone to help you take that first paso. Hello and welcome to First Paso, a show where we learn together how to take that first paso toward becoming the best versions of ourselves. My name is Candace Olushala, and I have a question for you. Is it hot? Y'all, it is so hot. I live on the East Coast of the United States of America, and I literally checked the forecast today, y'all. It said 94 degrees Fahrenheit, but felt like 107 degrees Fahrenheit with a humidity of 55 on a scale of 1 to rude. That is rude 2.0. I'm not here for that. It's a no for me. Where are you guys from? Let me know, and let me know what it feels like where you are right now this time of year. It is June, and it's too much. It's a lot. A lot's happening. And I can't eat ice chips fast enough. I will say that right now. In fact, I went to the gym, and my gym in the summer, I don't know if he's just trying to save some money, but the AC, the fans, they're not blowing the way I need to be breathing the way he has me doing, my trainer. And so I can't always breathe in there, and then of course I have to have the exercise induced asthma. So it's a lot going on. Breathing is still desired and preferred, but it's a struggle. It's a struggle. So I hope y'all's okay. I hope you're okay. Find you a fan. Find a friend to blow on you. Make sure they brush their teeth and don't got no COVID or nothing. But just stay cool out there, y'all. If you struggling with the heat, I'm praying for you. And if you're somewhere else where it's just mad cold, we praying for you too. And if you're somewhere where it's just all nice and perfect weather, we're clearly not talking. So it's fine. Okay, so today's topic is on breakups. I know it's summer and people are either trying to hook up or break up. And this may or may not be with a person. It might be with a situation or a job or a concept, something that maybe you thought was a good thing, or maybe you still love this thing, but something has shifted you to realize maybe I need to separate from that person, place, or thing. So this is really personal to me because I have, throughout my life, gone through different seasons and changes in myself, and experiences happen, and I thrive in those spaces and I love them, whether it's with a new friend or with a new job, a new location, and even sometimes something like going to summer camp. You go into it and you put your all into this experience with this person, this place, or this thing. And sometimes you feel like this is going to be forever. This is going to last a long time. This is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to me, or just something that you are just so thankful has occurred in this season of your life. And then something happens to where you realize, oh, I can't stay here, or I can't continue this relationship, or I have to go, or summer camp is simply over, and you have to say those final goodbyes. What do you do when you have to separate from a person, a place, a situation, and you don't want to, but you know you have to, you know you need to, that everything lines up to say this is the appropriate time to move on to something else? I don't know about you, but as many times as this has happened in my life, I don't know if it gets any easier. You know, sometimes it's way easier if something turns sour in a relationship, or turns horrible in a work environment, or you just hated everyone you were around at summer camp, right? But sometimes you enjoyed it. You loved it. It was so euphoric for you. Maybe it changed aspects of how you view the world. Maybe it answered questions that were burning inside of you, and you finally found these answers. Maybe it was that longing or the belonging that you'd been looking for a long time. And maybe it was just a beautiful surprise that was happenstance. Whatever the reason that got you there and kept you there for the amount of time that you were there, that doesn't change the fact that the breakup could be hard. If it was a horrible experience, it's usually easier to say deuces. But if it wasn't, but you know you have to move on, what do you do? What do you say? How do you act? How do you feel? How do you express? How do you handle that situation? And so today we're talking not about those breakups and separations that are way easy, but rather those that really make you have that lump in your throat, that leave you sad and really weeping inside for the fact that this has to end. So many things come up that cause us to have to make that decision, or for that decision to be made for us by surprise, whether it's that boyfriend saying, I don't know, but I don't think that we can continue on like this. Or maybe it's that job that you loved so much that said, I'm sorry, but we have to let you go. Whatever it is, even sometimes a death in the family, untimely, that you loved and cherished so much. How do you say goodbye to something that changed your world? Well, I have a few suggestions, and these are from personal experiences from all the moments that I've had to do this. One suggestion is to be honest. Be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself about the things that you loved about that experience, that space of time that you shared with that person, that job, that situation, that place, whatever it is. Be honest with yourself about the things that you loved about it, the things that changed your life, the things that impacted you in a positive way, and the memories that you want to hold in that space. Be honest with the other person, if a person is involved, about the gratitude that you have for that space that you shared, the appreciation for the interactions that you had, and whatever came with that connection. Be able to express that in the best way you know how. Not everyone's good with their words, and maybe seeing that person might just make you a blubbering mess. and you'd rather write it down or send them a letter, an email, or shoot them a DM on social media, whatever you feel is most appropriate given the context of that relationship. And maybe that just means going to their grave and talking to their tombstone, or saying a prayer to God to express that if you don't know how else to say it. But be honest if you can with that other person, or even the memory of that other person. If you had the opportunity to share it with them, what would you say? Or even if it is a job that let you go, to express your gratitude for them despite having to be let go. Or if it's the end of summer camp, saying thank you to all the camp counselors and the friends that you made and how you'll miss them so much, whether or not you see them again next year or ever. Or even at the end of graduation, when you realize, wow, we're never all going to be in the same place ever again. And telling the people that impacted you at your institution, thank you for what you did to make me who I am today. Even if it was something small, it's going to make a big impact in your life. So be honest with how you feel and the thanks and the gratitude that you have for that space of time with that person, that situation, that people, that place. Cherish that. The second thing I would say is to let yourself go through all the emotions and thoughts that come with a separation that you didn't want to happen. This is definitely difficult for those of us that are empaths. We emote a lot, and those of us that are more logical, our thoughts might race, and some of us are somewhere in between. But it's okay. It's okay to have to express the things that come with an unwanted and undesired brokenness between something that you cherished. It's human of you to have to go through that. It's being exactly who you've been created to be, a being that expresses the joys, the sadness, the laughter, the excitement, the anger, the frustration, everything in between. That's what you're able to do. So let that out. Let it out the way you feel is best. Whether that means going for a walk and crying your eyes out, curling up in a ball, holding your pillow, screaming, or just laying there still. Maybe laying on your back and crying to God, talking to Him about it. Maybe calling a friend or a family member that you trust to just process through what just happened. Maybe it's writing a letter to yourself, writing in your journal. Maybe it's singing songs to yourself, playing a musical instrument, drawing a picture. Whatever it is, go ahead and do that. Go through that process, however long it takes. Take your time. It really depends on the situation. It really depends on the magnitude of that space that you're grieving. Yeah, you're grieving, and that's okay. You're not meant to be the bionic man. You don't have to rob yourself of the opportunity to go through those stages of sadness or disappointment or shock or confusion or anger and frustration and missing and desire. All those spaces come with grief, and that is okay. Thirdly, I would say do something that also helps you feel good. If that means reconnecting with someone that you haven't connected with in a while, if that means going ballroom dancing, if that means making silly videos on TikTok, if that means taking yourself to the movies, going outside, basking in the sun, put on your sunscreen because, again, it's real hot. If that means playing with your kids, if that means hugging your best friend, Do something that you know brings you joy, even when it might be hard to. That way it kind of helps you move on and get through the grieving process a little bit easier. I'm not saying to use those spaces to pretend like you're not grieving, but use those spaces to help you push through the grieving and to know that it's going to be okay one day. You're going to feel better, and those memories are going to be locked up in a space of gratitude and love and appreciation without the deep sadness someday. But until then, sometimes you got to walk in the mix of, I'm grieving, but I want to remind myself that there's still more to my life, and there's still so much to do, and there's more that's in store for me, or at least I hope there is. So enjoy those spaces as well, especially when you're really, really, really struggling to process what happened. Now, if you're the one doing this separation, if it's your call, if you're the one that's brought it up, I also suggest, if it makes sense in the context of the situation, to additionally let the other person express themselves. If you had the opportunity to express yourself, allow them the same opportunity. Maybe have a conversation and allow for that space to have some sense of closure by providing that space. With friends, with significant others, with that camp buddy, with that friend that walked with you through school and had made it with you to graduation. Sometimes you just want to share what you want to say, and maybe it's hard to hear the reciprocal because you don't know if this is mutual. It might not be a mutual situation. It might be a surprise to them. And so depending on the context, it might be weird for you to have to hear what they have to say, and it might feel like it's too hard to have to hear what they want to say. It's already hard enough to realize that you need to do this. But maybe hearing from them and having that complete closure would benefit the both of you. So that way, everyone gets an opportunity to express and share and walk away feeling like that's complete. Not preferably, but everyone got out what they wanted to say. So if you are the one initiating, consider doing that. And if you're the one receiving, don't be afraid to ask for time. Don't be afraid to ask for time to process what just happened, and maybe ask, can I come back and share my thoughts once I've collected myself later, if that time is allowed. That time might not be allowed for whatever reason, but ask for the time, and if there isn't that time to kind of process, take the time that you do realize you have to try to go ahead and share, express, ask your questions, get them out, have a dialogue. And then for both parties, respect the other person's space after that. Or respect your job. Don't show up hounding them afterwards. Whatever it is that you need to do to then get used to that separation, do that. It might take some practice, getting used to all the emotions, the urges to not call or not text, not check their socials, not reach out, not see how they're doing, and all those things. Sometimes you leave their number in your phone for a long periodically time. Sometimes you don't delete those messages that mean a lot to you. Sometimes that means cherishing that gift a little bit more, or that letter that they wrote that one time. Whatever it is that you need to do to give each other space, try to do that. Sometimes it's healthy enough to make a decision on how to make that separation happen, whether it's one conversation and you're done, and sometimes it might take a few conversations before it's truly over. You know the connection, you know the relationship, you know the situation. Take your time. Assess the situation and do what you know is healthiest, or what you think is healthiest. Your emotions and your thoughts might not always know what is healthiest at the time, but show yourself grace. Because separation, breakups that you don't want to happen, it's a different ballgame. It's a completely different ballgame compared to the ones that you're so ready to be over with. That's a whole different podcast, y'all. Man. But when it's something that you really appreciated, be as human as possible. I recently had to have one of these situations happen in my life. I had to go through the process of realizing that even though it wasn't something I wanted to happen, after much prayer and crying, processing, talking to loved ones that I trust to sit in that space with me and help me process, a lot of talking with God and Him showing me the way and giving me the peace to do what needs to be done. After going through all that, I went ahead and did the thing, and it was hard. It was hard because it was a space that I appreciated. It was a space that I loved a lot, enjoyed, had tons of fun experiencing, connecting. Healing happened in that space. Revelations happened in that space. Trust was built in that space. Honesty was encouraged in that space. But that space served its purpose for the time in which it was there. And it was time to move on. It was time to go a different route, and though it was a lot to process, I gave myself the time. And I chose to give the other person the same opportunity. It's weird. It doesn't matter whether it's with a friend, a family member, a significant other, a boss that you thought was just bomb.com. Like, it really doesn't matter. If it was a space that you really cherished, and especially if that person is still alive, and you may or may not see them again, you may or may not connect with them again, you may or may not have those types of experiences again. It's okay. You're going to be okay. they're going to be okay. You can trust that. You can trust that, and hopefully you have the opportunity to reassure that you're going to be okay and that they're going to be okay, and that even if there's no more contact, there's no ill will upon the other person or situation, you wish that person, place, thing all the best for what's to come, even though you might not be there to celebrate it in person and experience it with them. You can proceed knowing that you put your all into that. And now you get to live a life carrying all the things that evolved you in that space into your future. How cool is that? Even those unfair breakups leave a stamp on your life. That's what holds the memories together. So, I don't know if you've ever been in this space before, but if you have, how did you handle it? How did you process the breakup that you didn't want to happen? How did you get through it? Or are you still figuring that out? Or maybe you're in that space where you realize it needs to happen and you haven't put your words together. Do that too. Give yourself time to put your words together. Some people might tell you, go ahead and just do it. If you know that this needs to be done, if you know that this needs to end, just go do it. Why are you waiting? Timing matters, guys. Timing is important. And there's a level of respect of time that comes with these things. And sometimes there isn't the right time. Sometimes you do kind of have to go ahead and do the thing because the windows of opportunity all suck. Let's be real. But if you really do need the time to collect your thoughts and your emotions and all those things before you really sit down and have that conversation, do that. I hope this podcast helps. It's kind of unconventional, but I'm an unconventional girl, so I don't mind having these types of conversations because, again, it's one of those spaces that is weird. It's weird about life. We have these fantasies that things last forever and ever and ever, and it's not always true. That sounds really sad, guys. And I don't mean to be sad. I just want us to sit in the realities of change. Sit in the realities of evolution. Sit in the realities of recognizing when something was healthy and maybe moving forward won't be, so maybe cutting it off early is best, so that way you can hold on to the positive instead of having to enter into a space that taints it all. You just never know. But hopefully this allows you to cherish the moments that you do have that you're learning and growing from. Cherish each moment because you really truly never know if or when those spaces have to end. Well, that's it for today's episode, guys. If you have any topics or suggestions, anything for a future episode, hit me up. You know how to reach me on my website, www.firstpaso.com, or on any of my socials at Candace Olushala. I would love to hear from you guys. And my first pasitos, my patrons, thank you guys so much for your support. If you want to become a patron, you can also go to my website to find out how. Guys, take care. Summer is here. And breaking up is hard to do. So, take care of your heart. Take care of your mental health. Hopefully you're in a space that's thriving. And if you're not right now, and you're contemplating that hard decision, we're here for you. Until next time, take care. God bless you guys. Bye.